Hey everybody, this is that German guy Josh Runquist, and I'm here with Glen Drover, who is now a part of Metal for Hire, and I'll be doing a nice interview here with him today. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
It's an honor to talk to you. I've been following your career since King Diamond, and it's, again, just a great honor to be able to sit down here with you and talk to you.
That's great, thank you.
Oh, not a problem. So how did you get attached to Metal for Hire?
I think it was Devin that reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in doing it, which of course I am, because I said yes, because after I heard about exactly what it's about, it's a no-brainer, because I've been already doing this kind of thing for years. I mean, I've been doing this exact thing for years on my own, but by, just working with different, indie artists, established artists, doing, guest solo spots, helping out with mixing and mastering and song construction, production, just everything, the whole bag of, doing different, just whatever it takes to, record a full song, with all the recording and everything else, everything that goes into it. So, and, of course, this is what, this is what this company is offering as well. So, so it's, all the different artists have different things that they're available for. And for me, it's guest solo spots, all the stuff I pretty much mentioned before: production, song, organization, and all that stuff. So
I'm glad to hear that too, because of everything that you are capable of. I know you could add a lot to what people would be looking for as well.
Well, it's something I like doing, and I have been doing it for many years, doing production and like I say, engineering. I've been doing home studio engineering since the very early 90s, so, over 20 years just about, of doing that. When I started, it really wasn't a common thing. Now it's very common, and so what that's done is it's opened the doors to, to be able to help people understand, certain things, to try out as far as, miking techniques, and again, not just the song itself, but, the techniques of recording. So there's all those things that are fun to dive in and help people help people out with as well. So, yeah, it's just totally, like I said, it's very comfortable for me because I've been doing it for years. So.
Oh, very cool. Not to give too much away, since you are working for Metal for Hire, is there any tips or specialties that you can let people in on to make them want to look more into working with you?
Well, it's not just one thing. That's the thing. Every situation is unique. You could have one guy who's doing something on his own and he wants to do instrumental music. You could have a band situation. You could have somebody who's... It's just all kinds of different things. It all depends on the style of music and what it's calling for, and what they're trying to achieve, really. Because I have everybody that I work with has their own unique type of scenario. So there's not one specific thing I can say. I guess what I can say overall is just that it's a typical thing. People usually looking to form a band. If they're trying to form a band, like there could be one example of somebody looking to form a band, but they want to put a product together first and use that as a tool to to be able to hook up with musicians and try to form a band that way. Then that kind of situation, which I've done many times, and I am currently doing that with one particular person in the U.S. where he's just trying to put all this a full album together, and then look for musicians to join his project. So in that kind of situation, it would be where I would help. What would happen typically is the person would come up with a tune or maybe a part of one, and I would just help out with the riffs, just to help to shape it. I've added stuff, when need be or called for, and just also too, just shaping the structure to try to tighten it up. This is of course what production is. I've helped out with guitar tracks, bass tracks, keyboard tracks. You name it. Because like I said, it's not just one typical path. There's all kinds of different branches off the tree. So.
Oh, that is very true. I mean, anyone that's ever been in a band or anyone that's put out an album definitely knows that. I mean, once you get started, there's so many different options of what could happen and so many things that could be done. It's good to see that you're covering as much as possible that way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, and it's something I enjoy, and like I say, I have a lot of experience with it, so it was really a no-brainer when I was approached to do it. So,
oh, that is...
I mean, it's just they're just starting out, so it's a new thing. It's new and exciting for these guys, and hopefully it's going to really be going to be a really cool journey for both of us doing this thing together. So.
Oh, very much so. And I'm glad to see that you are a part of it too. Again, just with all of your knowledge and all of your experience, both on the road, in the studio, and for songwriting.
Right.
And speaking of that, outside of Metal for Hire, are you currently working on any new music of any kind?
There's a couple of different things, but the one that's pretty much being the main focus here for a little bit is I've been doing this thing. We're working on an album of doing different songs with different singers. Each song I have on that actually for quite some time, but it's been I've been doing it somewhat at my leisure, you know. And what I've been doing is I've been releasing these songs individually for digital download, and then once I compile enough songs to where I feel it's, you know, I'm happy with, you know, the set of songs that I have, and it, you know, it's the length of an album that I want to have, then I'm going to compile them and have them available for, you know, hard copy release for, you know, LP and CD. So, and, you know, so far the ones that I've released are, you know, of course the one with Todd Latour from Queensryche, which is the Scorpius single that was released late last year. And then there's one with Henning Bossi from Metalusion, a song called Seven Spirits. It's actually an old Eidolon song. So there's a couple of different ones that I've done. So I'm just, you know, working with different singers to try to finish this off. Warrell Dane is one of them. Russell Allen, Chuck Billy, Testament, and then there's a few more. So I pretty much have the whole roster filled up at this point. So that's what that's been my main focus lately, is doing that. But there'll be some instrumental stuff I'm going to do as well, probably with the Metalusion project, and who knows what else, you know.
Oh, it's really cool to see you keeping that busy, and it's amazing that you're able to get such a great roster as well. I mean, getting vocalists from the entire range of metal going on, that is really cool.
Yeah, so it's fun.
So what I take it, your brother's doing drums for that?
No, as a matter of fact, let me see. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be on any of those tracks. So, you know, I'll have different people do different things. I'm going to be doing most of the guitar work, if not all of it. I'll probably do most of it. And pretty much the main focus will be, like I say, the main focus. But the one cool thing about it is, again, like I said, every song is going to have a different singer from different bands in the industry. So.
Oh, that is very cool. I'll definitely be looking forward to that when it starts to become available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So with that said, is there any inkling to start another full-time band, or are you just enjoying doing the solo work now?
Right now, just doing that. I'm concentrating on that right now. Yeah. So no plans for any I guess, you know, to put together a certain band and tour and all that. No, that's not happening right now. It's not. I'm more into doing what I'm doing between, you know, doing all the different, you know, work with other people and myself is keeping me busy enough as far as music goes. So I'm quite content.
Oh, very much so. And that's the important thing, too, when it comes to music, is you got to want to make the music that you want to make, or else it stops being fun.
Right, exactly. These days, more than ever.
Very true. And speaking of new music, is there any new music that you've been listening to, something that's come out in the last couple of years or anything like that?
Yeah, I really liked the new Sanctuary album that came out, whenever that came out, not too long ago.
Oh, yeah, back in October.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that's good.
Something that's non-metal is a band called Astra. Actually, Metal Blade released a version of their last album as well. But they're not a metal band. They're more like a early kind of 70s prog kind of type of... It's kind of combine different elements of, like, you know, early Pink Floyd, ELP, Genesis, and Yes, and stuff like that. So that's one band I'm really, really, really digging. I've just been collecting a lot of the new releases, the re-releases of a lot of back catalog that a lot of bands have been putting out on vinyl, you know, like the 180 and 200 gram vinyl. I've been, you know, really getting into collecting a lot of that stuff, like, you know, stuff from the Rush catalog, Sabbath, you know, on and on and on.
Oh, that's cool. It's really cool to be able to revisit that stuff on quality vinyl as well.
Yeah, I mean, most of it. I mean, there are some sessions of certain albums that have been a little bit disappointing, but for the most part, everything I've experienced so far has been really good. So, yeah.
Oh, very cool. Getting back a little bit into Metal for Hire, has there been any experiences that you've dealt with so far as like new learning experiences for Metal for Hire?
I just started, so I just literally just jumped on and got, there's one guest solo spot I'm doing for one artist who's, I guess, just new to the game, and So I'm doing a spot for him, and we've just started. So, I'm going through this interview phase, and we're just trying to get the word out.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's definitely a good way to go about it. Again, I'm honored that I get to be able to do this with you. I mean, it's a really cool idea to be able to do this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm really, really happy about doing this. So, yep.
Oh, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. So, with all of your experiences of going out on tour with the different bands that you've been a part of, what would you say are some of the best experiences that you've had?
There's certain shows, obviously playing, the hometown shows were always lots of fun with the bands I played with, and seeing parts of the world that I'd never seen before, of course, for the first time. It's always some places more than others. It's, it can be very exciting, like Japan and Australia, and just some spots I never thought I'd go to, like Alaska, which I really enjoyed, and all that stuff was really cool. But shows, the hometown shows, like I said, playing the Air Canada Centre in Toronto and the Bell Centre in Montreal and Molson Amphitheatre in Toronto, the Donington Festival in the UK, so those shows, which really big number of people, that was very exciting, playing a lot of those big festivals and stuff like that. So yeah. A lot of really cool memories of different, like I say, different areas and different shows. So lots of fun, great experiences.
Oh, that's very cool. I mean, being able to travel all over the world, playing music that you enjoy, that's definitely a great way to live. Yeah.
So,
and of course, it always comes with challenges too. But as long as you still enjoy doing it, that's the important thing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So just getting back into some of the bands that you've been a part of, I'll start with King Diamond. How did that come about?
That was just a situation where in the early 90s I did a videotape of myself playing along with some of the songs and did a solo, and just made a videotape and sent it to his booking agency at the time, which was in Denmark, and then they make a long story short, basically they forwarded the tape to him, and I got in touch with him, and he really liked it. And at the time, the spot was filled, but we remained, in contact for years, about 4 or 5 years. And then that spot came available, and he phoned me up and asked me if I wanted the job. And so that's pretty much how I got into the band. Initially sending the videotape so he could see what my style was about, and then he just called me one day when that he said to me initially, he said, if something comes up, we'll consider that, and we'll give you a call if it works out. And that's exactly what happened. So I remained in contact with him for the years leading up to that. So we got to know each other a little bit, and he was always really good to me. So it was always fun talking to him. So.
Oh, very cool. Do you ever go back and play any of the old King Diamond songs?
What do you mean as far as just playing them just by myself at home?
Yeah, just listening to them or play through them on the guitar.
Yeah, sometimes like if I'm doing a clinic or like an online live clinic thingy or something, sometimes I'll bring certain songs up and I'll play them. Sure, yeah. So sometimes I'll revisit some of them, other songs. Sure.
Oh, very cool. And yeah. I'm assuming that'd be the same thing for Megadeth as well?
I'll play some of the songs sometimes, sure, but not as much. Because I've been concentrating more on the new singles and the Metalusion album and stuff like that. So, yeah, but little bits and pieces of somebody asks here and there. So. Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool. So, getting into the instrumental music, how did that come about? What made you want to go full on instrumental?
It's just I grew up with that stuff just as much as I grew up with all the heavy stuff, from an early age. I was listening to Al Di Meola and Return to Forever and Jean-Luc Ponty, growing up with, listening to my first Sabbath albums. So it's always been a part of listening to music for me, is, listening to instrumental music as well as vocals. So it's just something I wanted to do at that point. I had already done every album I'd done, or all the bands I worked with, was all vocal stuff. And I wanted to do something that was a little bit different than what I was used to. And I was excited about the challenge and wanted to visit that type of that type of format of that style of music that I grew up with. So that's purely what that was about.
Oh, very cool.
Diversity, which is something I like.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I absolutely love instrumental music as much as I love music with vocals as well, because,
right.
I mean, if you listen to the right instrumental, I mean, like the guitar tracks or whatever the instrumentation is, it's just like listening to vocals, too. It can be just as memorable and catchy.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, and very, very true. Good point. So, and yeah, there's just, all depending on your taste. It's all subjective, but I mean, I like a lot of that stuff as well, so. And really big part of growing up with listening to music and being influenced by it too. So
yeah, very much so.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Would you say there's any major challenges or issues with doing instrumental music?
Well, there can be, absolutely. I mean, like on the Metalusion album, there's a couple of slower tracks. I mean, I purposely, when I would construct the song, I would, I would come up with a certain riff and go, okay, well, they try to keep the song a little bit more basic and more melodic and a little bit more easier to digest. And then certain songs that, depending on the mood or of the riff or whatever I was working on would, dictate either that or having something that's a little bit more involved and complex. So that's why you have different flavors on the album. You have some songs that are more complex and some that are more laid back and melodic and, different tempos and so forth. So obviously the easier tracks were easier to put together, obviously. Some of them would write themselves. But then, we would do, like, say, the cover of the Al DeMula track we did, because of all the different, guitar tracks, all the different colors. I don't know how many guitar tracks I recorded. By the end of the day, it was tons of them. And it was a very demanding track. So to really be in the pocket and really be in that complete, just be in that groove, it was definitely a challenge and but a lot of fun because I like that, So it just all depended on what track I was doing, but there's certainly some hair-pulling moments for sure.
Yeah, it definitely comes with that. I mean, with instrumental music, I'm sure that does come with the territory, but the final product, though, I mean, it's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm really proud of that album. That's probably one of my, to me, it's my favorite thing that I've done to date.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that, too, because I know a lot of people wouldn't normally think that, but when you can go out there, especially with vocal-dominated music taking over the world, releasing an instrumental album that you can really be proud of, I mean, that's something to really be proud of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's not just because it's instrumental, I'm just most proud of that because I can listen to the whole thing and enjoy it from the beginning to the end and not cringe. But I also did the album over about a 2.5 year period. It was done sporadically when we felt like doing it. And I had a lot of time to reflect on it and to make sure, I didn't purposely say, I'm going to take it. And by the time it was, time to mix everything and put it out, I was confident that, down the road I would listen to the album and still like everything I did on it. Of course, half the album is covers, but still, regardless, you got to, do those justice as well. So, yeah, very happy with it.
Yeah, that's definitely a great thing, and just like you touched on a little bit ago, the diversity of the album is what makes it very enjoyable, because you're not just listening to one tempo, one style the entire time. I mean, there's a lot of ebb and flow and a lot of diversity that goes along with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you try to, I think the goal for me was to kind of have something that was, you had different textures and stuff, but at the same time, having it where everything is cohesive, so that was what I tried to achieve, and I think everything sounds like it belongs in the same album. But yet you have the diversity of the songs, so you don't have, doesn't feel like you're listening to the same song over and over. So that's kind of what I was trying to do. So
yeah, and it definitely worked out for the best. Yeah, thanks. Oh, not a problem. So I would take it for the new material, it would be still kind of in that same guideline of being able when you feel inspired and when you want to work on it?
Yeah. Pretty much. If I don't feel like doing something, I don't do it. The same with playing guitar itself, I always preach that, students and everything, people that I work with, if you're forcing yourself and you think, oh, I need to get this done, then I don't think that's the right way to go. You should always do something, because if you're doing something and you're not totally into it, then you're not really inspired, and you're not going to get the same results as when you are inspired to do something. So, but that's just common sense. So, yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, a forced product will sound like a forced product, and you're not going to be able to enjoy it as much as when you're fully inspired the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see that you are having that right mindset, and I know people who would work with you for Metal for Hire would hopefully get that great insight as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, part of the whole thing, and hopefully all the experiences will be cool, so... Yeah.
Oh, very much so. Well, I'll wrap things up here. I really do appreciate you taking the time to do this interview with me. Before we wrap things up, is there anything else that you'd like to bring up that I haven't brought up yet?
No, I think we're good. Yeah, because the main focus is, of course, metal for hire and doing all that. And, yep, absolutely.
All right, fantastic. Well, make sure to check out Glen Drover for all of his upcoming music whenever it becomes available. And, of course, check out metalforhire.com. And if you feel inspired, get in contact with Glen Drover. This is that drummer guy, Josh Runquist. Thank you.